In the next few lessons we worked on telling the time, taking advantage of the work we'd already done on numbers. We started with just the hours, using the counter G and discovering that some of the hours are a bit irregular.
11時
Then we worked on just the minutes with the counter Hun and encountered more irregularities.
35分
As you heard in that clip, the melody of Japanese is quite different from English. In fact, this has been and still is the most challenging aspect of learning Japanese for me. Then I combined hours and minutes to say, it's 5:39. There was an awful lot to bring together in saying this simple sentence. In fact, I was conscious that at that moment in the lesson, I was right at the edge of my capabilities.
5時39分です。
In the next clip from a week later, someone had just mistakenly said that the time was 8 o'clock. So I made the correction in Japanese. You'll notice that I was much more confident in telling the time and that I could self-correct the melody, showing the benefits 7 nights of sleep had given me.
いいえ、8時ではありません。9時です。
A little later I offered 2 ways of saying half past the hour.
15時半です。または15時30分です。
Japanese has 2 different words each for 4 and for 7, just one of the many small shocks learning the language gives to an English speaker. In the next clip, I had to use both the words for 7 to say 7 minutes past 7.
7時7分です。
It would probably be possible to get an intellectual understanding of how Japanese tells the time in just a few minutes, but that kind of superficial learning isn't of much use. Only time, practice and feedback develops the capacity to tell and recognize the time instantly without having to think about it whenever it's needed. And like any skill, telling the time in Japanese is hard until you can do it, and then suddenly it's easy, just like riding a bike or swimming or windsurfing. So, after 19.5 hours of teaching, I could count, I could talk about rods and colours, I could give simple instructions, and I could tell the time. All of this was familiar and useful. Since I knew nothing of it, the rest of Japanese, which I knew must be vast, didn't bother me. I knew that in time, more and more could become just as familiar as this little part had already become.